Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. As a matter of fact, now is just after 12:06. Now, this morning I would have listened to the entire debate or the explanation from Gideon Dixon. Hence the thumbnail, Gideon Dixon should talk the truth. And we are not implying that he's lying. What we are implying here is that there are many things that is existing within the police force that needs to be highlighted. And what we are saying here on this platform here today is that I know it's unorthodox. I know we didn't advertise the time that we are coming on today. But I feel before different spins of this interview would have reached the public domain, I feel that, we need to comment on it. Now, Gideon Dixon, everybody know him, or just see him, he does talk on behalf of the police, a matter of fact. And being family members with many of the police officers outside there, and, having friends that is police, there are more issues that exist in the police force. Some of us go like to believe that, all the police corrupt. That is not true. Not all of them corrupt, but there's a high percentage of them that are involved in criminal activities. A matter of fact, half of the police force have been reported on by normal citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and half could be, they say it's about 7,000 officers, approximately. Imagine half of the police force have been complained on in this country by an individual. Now the thing about it is this, where we could jump to the factor that all police corrupt. That is not the truth. Some of us go like to believe that because it's so much that we are seeing within the public domain. We see our police taking money, so we see them going in people's place. We see all the camera footage. But yet still, they are treated as angels. Or they are depicted as angels in the courtroom before a judge. Most of the times, when you say something, it have been left unnoticed and put the statements of the officers, they give it credence more than the average citizens, despite what they are seeing now in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, we would have all heard of corruption in the police force, and we didn't have no evidence concerning that. But today, we can see, especially when the man would have taken the money and paid with the video with Gary Griffith, where he was police commissioner with the drug suit, there was even said that. And just recently, the incident in Sandy Grande, and these police officers would have gotten, the matter would have gotten thrown off. And it's only because you, the members of the public, would have stand out and say something and make comments on social media pertaining to that incident. All of a sudden, they're retrying the case. But what is the comment really that we are here to say about Gideon Dixon? Now, other than the factor that police, we know police just take out the lights. I pass and I see it. I ain't go call the station. But it's not because of any fear of criminal elements in it. It's precaution. And this is not an excuse that I am making here. There was something that they call a compound sentry. When you are inside of a station or any place that any night time it have light, you can't see nothing on the outside. So yesterday, when we would have picked up an article in which Gideon Dixon again would have cleverly would have depicted the fact that they are officers. When they take out the light, then they could see outside. He left part of the problem out. There was something that are called compound sentries. An officer always strapped walking around the perimeters of the station. Now, something like that is very important because you never could tell what's taking place on the outside of a building. So this is not for you to criticize, this is information. In the future, as of today, such a thing do exist. So let me say hypothetically, there are 2 police officers left in a station. And all the rest of them gone out on investigation and investigating what's taking place. And it have 2 officers inside a compound. Can they see what is taking place outside? Some may argue they should have camera system. Yes, they should have camera system, but who monitoring it? Who is designated to monitor it? Now, in operations like this, they won't tell you that they're not designated nobody to look at it. So they could utilize the officer somewhere else. And the problem here in the police force that exists, there is only one. There are several others. Take, for example, the issue with the SRP officers. That some of them would have made statements to me explaining that they are not paid as the rest of officers and they are using them more and more. They're using SRP more and more to the tune that it minimizes the duty of a normal officer. And they're getting less. So there's issues that is existing within the police force that needs to be addressed. But one must ask, why now things like this is being brought within the public domain? And while we was digging behind the scene underneath rocks in the organization, namely the TTPS, we would have found out that there is an election this year. And there's a statement that was made to me, and the statement is this: when the bulb going on blow, it has started light more bright. Now all these things have been taking place for years. And it's coincidental that it have an election that is going to take place and people are going to get more seniority in the position that they already have. And some of the officers believe that that is the reason why the individual is speaking out at this point in time. Now, some of us complain about when we go to the police station, they don't have no vehicle. Now, if you go to the police station and you see one vehicle there, one, bet your bottom dollar that is the only vehicle there in that station. And when one shift come off, another shift take up place. And most of the time, that one vehicle does be used repeatedly by all the rest of officers coming on shift. So if one vehicle does be used 24/7 around the clock, imagine the wear and tear on that vehicle. I mean, let's be real. Now, just this morning I was talking to one of my partner. Just this morning I was talking to Kana, matter of fact, Sheldon Cat. And you know, where it is, he would have said, boy, down by Vemco, when you pass there, lot of police vehicles. And we all know what take. You see, the thing about it is, we all know that these vehicles and them, some of them, could fix just like that. We all know that. We all know if they had a system, a track record, a matter of fact, concerning the fixing of these vehicles, some of them will go park up there. Some people just go and buy all on auction. And there is a possibility that other people have access to the vehicle and they could take a part from it. These are possibilities. So, when the Prime Minister would have said what he said, he would have revealed two things. He would have revealed, one, the incompetency, yes, of the police force by the explanation that he would have bring, and he's trying to walk this thing out. At the end of the day, he can't walk it back. We know if thing needs to be tested in a lab, does the TTPS have a lab in this country that they could test DNA? I mean, come on, this is Trinidad and Tobago. This is the 21st century. When we keep on seeing the figures that the detection rate is 10%, 23%, it never reached 50. It didn't dawn on some of the politicians or the people and them that in national security as to look into the apparatus in which the police officers have or is available to them to fight crime. And to know the type of salaries some of them are getting. Just the other day, the same recommendation that with the Salary Review Commission recommend a raise for Earl Christopher. And to know that the police is at limbo in solving these cases, because this is not the first that case get thrown out because of lack of evidence. And this is something that we continually do on a daily basis. And then we are asking ourselves the question, how the police are not fighting crime effectively. We asking the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, hey, report what you are seeing in the police force. Report crime, a matter of fact. And then we could cite several instances that police would have came to your homes and say, hey, look, your neighbor make a report on you. Let me say, your music too loud. Just for saying. And these are the things that we get from the police force. Everybody knows somebody. And I just wonder, I mean, and you're still asking the people for their cooperation in fighting crime? Now, we could say what we want about Ian Allen. You know? Ian Allen would have solved that problem for the police force. It's a mantra. Every time you watch Ian Allen station, every time you watch Ian Allen on TV, he said, we have a website. You could upload information anonymously. The police force is laughable in this country. How it is Ian Allen was able to solve that problem in terms of protection of information and source, and the police force can't do it? Now, when we I mean, many of you have been does be watching our program in here, and when we criticize, it's not that we want to bring down the organization or bring down a particular organization or to shine them up as let me shine them up. It's not for that. We criticize these organizations for them to do better. And when they see the broadcasting, they say, well, all right, let me go and change what we would have done. That is why we criticize them here. So some of you that may have police friends, yes, we criticize them strongly in the past and highlight issues that, that needs to be fixed. If we ought to move forward in our society and protect the wealth that we have, the number one priority is to keep the citizenry safe. To keep the citizenry safe. One of the causes of poverty is because of crime. Because people are opting out of businesses because of the high crime level in this country. People are not investing. People not coming in certain areas. We're not going. And some of the areas have been reduced to a place of poverty because of low security in terms of where the citizenry does matter. Now, you can live in the wilderness if you want, knowing that if somebody come and do you something there, they could be caught. Many of you who are living in the city, some of you know what a city polluted atmosphere. Most of all, you want to live in nature. But at the end of the day, you want to know if you are protected, or if something happened, there is going to be a certain proportion of persecution or finding out what would have taken place with you there. So I went in a long explanation concerning this. The fact that you can't be asking the public Fitzgerald Hines. You cannot be asking the public Earl Christopher and Keith Scotland and even the Prime Minister. You can't be asking the public to cooperate with the police. And when they give information to the police force, the information that they gave to them is compromised, and it could come back to the person that they are complaining about. That needs to be fixed. If you don't know how to fix that, just look any evening casually on the Ian Allen program and see how we solve that. Put up our website. And the next thing too, our next issue in the police force that with the public, a matter of fact, that severely needs to be addressed is how they behave towards citizens. Yes, how they behave. The police force, yes, they must be seen as a force to reckon with. They must also be seen as a force that they could come, sit down and communicate with. Where are community policing? Where is the efforts to support the initiative of community policing? Where are that? And coming from back in the days, everybody from the Point 14 area know a matter of fact, Miss Shepherd. She was like a mother to everybody within the community. Still is a matter of fact. You can go to she up till today and ask for advice on certain things. And when we see the decay or failure to invest within community policing and these police youth groups that exist around Trinidad and Tobago, you see the youth start to go astray. We are not saying that, that they go catch everybody or they go get everybody within these safety nets. But it's a good place to start. It's a good place. So you cannot be asking the population for some form of cooperation without providing a benefit, at least protection, where that is concerned. So we would have touched on the subject of a matter of fact, let me play the news brief, a matter of fact, concerning with the Prime Minister. That is it there. So just for you,
police officers whose job it is to protect us and to secure us in some districts at night are so afraid of the criminals that they close the police station door, turn off the light, and be inside there hoping that the criminals don't come at them.
Those comments from Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley during the SOE debate on Monday earned him a rebuttal from the top cop, as well as stern rebuke from former police commissioners, criminologists, and the Police Association. Now, Dr. Rowley is hitting back at what he says are, quote, overblown criticisms, telling CNC3 News via WhatsApp that his statements were rooted in fact. He adds that he was not criticizing police officers, but was highlighting the brazenness of criminals, and says he has consistently highlighted the bravery of policemen and women who stand between...
Now, Keith Rowley said, sorry, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, say, and you see the semantics with words, he's not criticizing them, they are overblown criticism, you see him highlighting the fact. But in this instance here, people of Trinidad and Tobago, criticism and highlighting could be used interchangeably. If you want to say, you wasn't criticizing them, well, you could put in highlight that. The thing about this whole story is, Keith Rowley, nobody don't think that you're going to be right all the time. You know? And it's okay to be wrong on certain instances or on certain matters. It's okay to be wrong. But what people of this country don't like is when they hear you say something and you're moving the goalposts to suit. That is what people are so disingenuous about. When things like this take place within the public domain, you are telling the people of Trinidad and Tobago they are fools. And I hear you say, they're playing back the tape for you to hear. They're playing it back, you're hearing it. And what you are saying, that you never say that, you prefer change criticism to highlighting, to try to make what point. That only shows, in my book, how foolish you are. We hear the comments are playing. And as I say, that is what the people does be vexed about, you know, Rowley, Keith Rowley. It's when you say something and you don't own up or man up to what you say, say. That is what people does be vexed for in this country, a matter of fact. There you go back to the tape.
Citizens and criminals. But former acting police commissioner Stephen Williams says Dr. Rowley's comments were damaging, even if he did not intend to offend police.
That might be true, but making this statement in the public domain, it is what is the concern. It doesn't add anything to improving our situation. It in fact encourages the criminal because it give them a feeling that we have the police on the run, they hiding from us.
However, the minister in the Ministry of National Security with responsibility for the TTPS, Keith Scotland, says Dr. Rowley's comments were taken out of context. He also...
Now, Keith Scotland, we know you is a lawyer. We know that you are expert at making excuses to people or to give reason and, get evidence to suit your reasoning. I know a matter of fact, that lawyers behave in such a way. I know that for a fact. But advise the Prime Minister. You could say that. I will leave you today. You could say that. But advise the Prime Minister. Say, boy, that was clear and precise. Tell the nation, well, yes, you say that, but you see how damaging it could be to the morale of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. and he retract the statement. But however, at this point in time, I am working to ensure that we have a more formidable police force. And call up Ola, you know she can't talk properly. Let she say one or two words, and all your work on improving the delivery of the police force. That is all. And that is what people want. People want the leaders to level with them. They don't want a leader that too detached. When you say something and when it didn't pull through, we come at you and they say, well, you know, I didn't say that. People don't want that. Yes, say yes, you know, I didn't say that, but however, I reach into a position and I explain the facts. You see, coming back to the story with, boy, I don't want to go into too much of different things. I don't want to go into much of different things. Let me keep to the point. Let me keep to the point.
Reaffirmed the state's confidence in and support of the police.
That we remain committed to the job and doing it together. And I ask the police officers to judge us by our actions and the resources placed in the police force. And we will continue to do that, and they will have unequivocally the unwavering support that is there for them.
Dr.
Now, Keith Scotland, you lost me there with a whole piece of explanation. What resources you would have placed in the police force? You ain't seen for years now that the police force want a DNA testing lab that they could test the DNA from crime scene in that is one of the number one thing in solving crime in Trinidad. You ain't seen that? You lost me there. What apparatus you just be placing in the, what apparatus, what upgrade the police force would have gotten to fight crime? What apparatus they would have gotten? I mean, many of us just watch. I mean, I used to watch crime, CSI, a matter of fact, and we see I mean, whether just go through to find out and to track down certain people. We in Ridge J. The number one apparatus that is needed within this country to fight crime is a DNA testing station or apparatus, compound, trained professional, and you could source them from within the police force. This is not rocket science. Train them, bring people down here, train them, or send people to certain send them abroad in certain institutions where they could learn and bring back that skill to us here in Trinidad. It's easy to sacrifice 1, 2, 3 people, train them, bring them across, and have them train other people within the organization. You see, things like this must start from one place, and it have to start. Numerous cases have been thrown away because of things like that. What really are we spending the money on? I mean, Ian Islanders boast every evening, put me there, I will be able to solve a lot of things. My God.
Rowley's comments came weeks after the murder of Trevor Williams, a stone's throw away from the Besson Street police station on December 29th, and the killing of 18-year-old Hale Atto Besson meters away from the Four Roads police station on Monday.
So, I need not go into the fact that to break down this whole debate here concerning with Gideon and a matter of fact, let me go into part of it.
And thank you very much for joining us this morning. So this morning we examined the Prime Minister's recent statements about some police officers. You would remember that earlier this week, while the Prime Minister was speaking about the SOE in Parliament, he made certain statements.
In some districts, some instances, police officers whose job it is to protect us and to secure us, in some districts at night, are so afraid of the criminals that they close the police station door, turn off the light, and be inside there hoping that the criminals don't come at them.
However, the Prime Minister...
All right, so that's the Prime Minister speaking about some police officers there. All right, so we do have on the line this morning, and of course these statements have caused some concern. So we do have on the line this morning the President of the Police Social and Welfare Association, Mr. Gideon Dixon. Mr. Dixon, always good to speak with you. Thank you very much for speaking with us this morning. We do appreciate it.
Good morning, Mr. Hopkinson. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the viewership. The pleasure is ours.
Yes. All right. So, Mr. Dixon, I know that you would have spoken with TV6 yesterday, and at that time you said, we do not have that information. We do not know where the Prime Minister got that information. That being said, by the office holder, we want to say that it does not do anything for the motivation or morale of the officers on the ground. I want to begin this way, Mr. Dixon, that this is the chairperson, the chairman of the National Security Council. So my position is it's not someone who has walked off the street or someone who, a normal person just speaking their mind without evidence and so on. So I'm thinking that what the Prime Minister would have said, surely it was based on some type of evidence.
Well, again, you are correct. It is not a normal person. And as a matter of fact, the statements made by the Prime Minister would have gone global. We are in a global market. I got calls.
But come on, answer the question. You see, it's the semantics these fellas and them does be played in it. Yeah, it's the semantics so you've been playing by. Nah, man.
From persons in Barbados, at least two persons from Barbados, with respect to the statement made by the Prime Minister and even the responses that I would have made. And we found it to be very alarming and disheartening. As a matter of fact, from an...
Brother man, the public want to know if the statements are true. You see, that is why they ain't go come on program like this, you know. The public wants to know if this statements is true. And Marlon, if I mean I watch you entire together, but Marlon, if you ain't come close to the point, trust me, you lost points here.
Association perspective, if we put it in the true context, the Prime Minister was on his feet as it relates to laying the bill to extend the
SOE.
And all and sundry realize the importance of the SOE at this point in time and its impact on particularly murders. And we could have seen that
in any logical debate, that is called pivoting. When you're not answering the question directly, you pivot wrong now. And hoping that the presenter forget. Now, we go see if the presenter forget the point. Or you go see something. Don't study eloquence. You know, we just talk bad language here, but listen as we go along. Pay attention.
The extension would have been coming. So when this statement was made, to me, or to us, it was an overkill because you were doing pretty good in terms of your summation as to the reasons why and in the debate. When you brought out the issue with respect to the police officers cowering to words to that effect and hiding another one to come out to confront the criminal elements, I think that did nothing for the debate. It did nothing in terms of speaking to your arm.
Come, brother man. We want to know if it's true. We don't want to know. You see, let me tell you what this is. They arguing outside the argument. Let me say, for example, that I come and say, hey, you see that contractor there, Mr. X, he's not supposed to get a contract to pave this road. And you now arguing outside of the argument stating, boy, you know, the man, look, what should the man doing? He paving the road. You see, the argument is not that capabilities in paving the road. The argument is him not being eligible for the contract in the first place. But we go wait and see if the host is perceptive of such. For all these years, you're in the business.
Forces being the body that is responsible for engaging the criminal elements on a day-to-day basis. And the reality is, whether it is day or night, you would know, and the country would know, that the police are not fearful of confronting the criminal elements. As a matter of fact, just check PCA stats. They find that we confront them a little too much. The issue of the night and lights being off and station door being closed, let me also put on record, you would see that the Commissioner of Police also responded to that. It is a cost.
Brother man. As I say, there is a reason why you ain't go come on this programming. The number there, if you want to call, a matter of fact, the number there. Call the number, make an appointment. We don't want to hear what the commissioner say. We want to know if the information that Keith Rowley would have placed on record, as Julie said, you can't say what the camera straightforward. We want to know if the information is true and why you're going down this line.
Customary practice that has been around for quite some time, especially in the wee hours of the night, because again, the police need to always have an advantage. And sometimes even where the stations are located, they are not in the most advantageous places. For instance, a station like Maraval Police Station, which is in a valley, on one side there is criminal elements overlooking the station, and on the other side there are persons who have their activities that the police must engage. You have the Beswell Street Station placed in a high-risk area, and when you have these things and you have stations where you are construct with concrete walls and glass that is the glass has tint which aids in the comfort of those who sit there or who comes there to make a report during the course of the day, because you are in an air-conditioned environment and we all understand how the heat is on the outside. So when persons operate there is a level of comfort with the glass, the air condition, the tint, and everything. But it also means that during the day, an officer could see anyone coming into the station comfortably. The door is closed, the service is not closed.
Yes.
Come into the station, you get attended to.
So the lights may be off, Mr. Dixon, but that does not mean that the police station is not open for business.
The police station is open for business 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And that is the record, 24 hours a day.
But Mr. Dixon, again, we did show the statement of the Prime Minister a short while ago. But again, certain things that the Prime Minister would have said to me and to citizens out there, this has to be based on some sort of information, because again, I just want to touch on a few words of what the Prime...
Right. Well, Marlon, I really thought you would not bring him back, because this man pivoted for some minutes, and at the end of the day, we want to know if the information is true. Come on, man, Dixon. Come on, man. I mean, if that is how you behave in a court, but you see, and there are police officers that have the same agreement that gets on so in a courthouse, bringing a bunch of information that is not relating to the topic. Dixon, I mean, Marlon, walk him back.
Minister would have said. So he said in some districts, in some instances, police officers whose job it is to protect us and to secure us in some districts at night are so afraid of the criminals that they close the police station door, turn off the light. You have spoken about turning off the light and saying, well, services are still being provided. But then the Prime Minister says, and be inside there hoping that the criminals don't come at them.
Well, we don't have that information. That information, as far as we are concerned, is more old talk than reality. Because if an incident...
Brother man. This man say he don't have the information. Really? You don't have the information. So you can't answer the question. How are you saying that now understand how skillful certain people is in pivoting? Alright, we don't have the information and now we're going to give you reasons why we mustn't believe that.
It occurs. And almost on every single crime scene, police officers are present. We appear on every single crime scene. Sometimes we are part of a crime scene because the officers, by and large, they act in the public interest. We act in the public interest.
So, my boy, this is very clever, you know? And we had to ask yourself if you want people like this to continue to represent you that cannot even answer a straightforward question as to deal with the many issues that is occurring, or do they have the testicular fortitude to deal with the facts as is? Because if you could say, all right, that old talk, and you don't have that information, you don't want to say the Prime Minister lie. You don't want to say that. I feel it, brother. But at the same time, you say you don't have that information, but now you are saying that you just be seeing police officer present on every crime scene as to bring back some form of reassurance to the public at large. But at the end of the day, being on a crime scene is a different scene, a different environment that is not highly dangerous as really some of where these police stations is, because the mere aim for putting police stations in certain area is to calm down the criminal activities that is existing there. So you are going on, Mr. Dixon, concerning a crime scene, a different scene than being in a police station. But watch that. If I come on this program and tear you up, because you can't be talking these kind of things and people are actually buying into these arguments. Nonsense. I say so.
So we don't have that information. We can't validate where the Prime Minister where you would have gotten it, when you would have gotten it.
Tell me lie.
From. We are certain it didn't come from a police officer. And in this instance here, based on statements made by the Commissioner of Police, it didn't come from the Commissioner, nor her executive. So if it is members of the public.
Brother man, what you saying? What you saying? So if it didn't come from if it didn't come from a police officer, it didn't come from the commissioner, it didn't come from no police. Why? These is the kind of people that you have representing or in the station and in some of the highest office in the land that, not willing to accept a situation as it is and take necessary steps to fix it. These are the people. Hear them. Bye.
Who are reporting that the stations are closed. The station door, all station doors at this point in time, if you go there now, will appear to be closed unless the air condition is not working. But all stations are more or less, we are in 2025, air conditioned, because you want comfort and you want the ability to perform in an environment that seemingly is for best practice and modern.
But so again, Mr. Dixon, Where would the Prime Minister get information that police officers are so afraid?
Now, just to move on, you realize he moved from the door being closed to the light being off. The light is off. Well, obviously, whether the door closed or not, the light is off because the police is afraid of the criminals outside. And if any police telling me that they're not afraid of the criminals outside, they are not human. There was something in existence that they call a compound officer that would have been patrolling the compound to keep them inside safe. Because if you lying down, let me say you're sleeping, no God means human, you sleep for 2 hours, 3 hours, nobody in up. If it have the compound sentry that patrolling the compound to ensure the safety of the people in the compound, because there ought to be some level of safety to the people that work in there. Gideon, boy.
Of the criminals that they closed the police station door?
Well, that question is best posed to the Prime Minister. And I know he made it in Parliament, so probably when you, the media reporter, get an opportunity to engage the Prime Minister outside of Parliament, that question could be posed to him. But I cannot say where he got it. I could say that we don't have that information.
So, go ahead, Mr. Dixon.
Maran, it should be told. Let me put everything in the true context. Again, the extension of the SOE was being debated, right? And the statements were made. The statements were made in relation to police officers who seemingly appears to be a pawn in a chess game. Because again, we come under attack at all times. The level of activities and work that you want us to do, we are not treated that way in terms of how we are resourced and how we are respected and how we are remunerated. No, we are not. We are oftentimes being used as a scapegoat, and that is, apart from unfortunate, that is not in the best interest of the persons that you have at the helm or at the helm to protect and serve the primary law enforcement body. So we need to revisit those things, and as responsible leaders, statements in the public domain could be misconstrued, could be looked at, dissected, and they are far-reaching and have implication, especially on the same moral of the officers that you want to be confronting the criminal elements. And on top of,
you see, we keep hearing the thing moral of the officers. What about the SRP that has been exploited? What about certain police officers on leave and still waiting for the matter to be heard? What about these things? And you see, what about the vehicle? What about the infrastructure that the police do not have access to, that to leave the shores of Trinidad and Tobago to solve certain crimes within their own country? And we asking ourselves this question, people, Trinidad and Tobago, citizens of the Republic, a matter of fact. Why those things cannot be brought to our shores? Why? And you hearing this man excuses here. And these are the people we have in certain places, paying them, a matter of fact. Just the last budget debate, the police force was allocated $6 billion. 6. Or you can put a lab testing station in Trinidad and Tobago in which is equipped with state-of-the-art equipment that you could test DNA, carbon data, certain things. Is that what we are about the police force? Because the police force, from when we would have taken it over from the British, it didn't change in a building. You have people housing a building just to keep the peace, bring them to court. Certain responsibilities was added. Yes, it improved on a micro level, But on the state of fighting crime, we need people who are capable of fighting crime. More than anything else here in Trinidad and Tobago, it can't be like this business as usual. It cannot be.
Of that, the record would show that we have been confronting the criminal elements, whether it is via the court or via out on the streets or on the sea, we have been confronting. And on top of that, we have several matters that have gone for investigation. We have officers who have gone and sit down in the maximum state prison, waiting the day for trial. These things have been happening, right? So this talk or this information was put out in the public space. We are saying it was unfortunate. It was unnecessary. It did nothing more than stir up anxiety. It could place police in a negative light and also in a negative position. And you don't want that. So it wasn't a responsible statement at all.
So what should be done about this situation? As I said this morning during my introduction, the police commissioner is saying one thing, the police association is saying another thing, the prime minister is saying. So is there need for the prime minister to clear this up, or does he need to withdraw his statements?
Well, we believe that the statement should be withdrawn. So we are calling on the prime minister to withdraw the statement. We are also saying we are calling on the prime minister to try to assist us to up our strength, our sanction strength. As it relates to, we are nearing 1,500 officers short. 1,000 officers was promised in our budget 2023 and 2024. Just over 200 we would have been able to get, and we still back them with attrition. We are saying the prime minister could instruct his ministers to look at absorbing the special reserve officers into the ranks and files of the TTPS. That will act as a good motivating factor. But for us to be going on in circles and pointing fingers and playing blame game with those who you have at the helm of your national security operations and protecting and serving the members of the public, it is not nice, it is not acceptable, and do not treat us like a pawn in a chess game.
Yeah. I'm glad that you spoke about the resources, because the police commissioner would have sent out a statement, and she said, at all times while on duty, police officers are fully equipped and supported to respond to emergencies, conduct patrols, and engage with the public. Now, when I saw this statement, Mr. Dixon, it is not in agreement with certain things that you and I would have spoken about in the past. And I have said to you, and I've even said when we even spoke about this on Beyond the Tape, that in some cases, and we have discussed this over the years, some cases police officers do not have stationery. We know about people speaking about the police service doesn't have vehicles. And there are myriad of problems when it comes to when doing business with the police. They may not have these receipts. Sometimes when you go, the machine that you have to take your fingerprints, it's down. So it's not a perfect situation, a perfect environment that police officers are working in. You have even said to us and expressed concerns over bulletproof vests, and in some cases, even their apparel, the uniforms. There seems to be an apparent shortage of police uniforms and weapons and so on.
Yeah, Marlon, we are not a perfect organization, and you are correct. And we are challenged with some of the resources, some of the PPE that is necessary. But we are not challenged where bravery is concerned. We are not challenged where commitment to duty.
Marlon, you catch this man, boy. You catch him. At the end of the day, people of Trinidad and Tobago, there are certain things that was said here in this interview. I am baffled. I am seeing the semantics in which Gideon Dixon is manifesting on this interview. And with that, we must ask ourselves two critical things. Is this what we want for leaders in the police force? And the second thing is, if the police force have to move forward with men like these on the helm, will it reach where it needs to be? Will it be that force to reckon with? And we have people with temperament and mindset as to what was now demonstrated in the video. Again, my name is Renison Jeffrey. This is the Workers' Rights Platform. We are broadcasting live from the Workers' Rights Network. And I am out.